Hi, my name is Glenda Roberts, and I'm the Director of External Relations and Patient Engagement at the Kidney Research Institute and the Center for Dialysis Innovation at the University of Washington. But most importantly, I'm a person living with kidney disease, and I am very excited about this initiative that is related to drug-induced kidney injury and data collaboration. You know, when I got my kidney transplant back in 2010, one of the things that I was struck by was the fact that I seemed to be a part of some experiment. I'm sure you've all heard about the large cadre of drugs that transplant recipients are given. But what struck me most was on a regular basis, the pharmacists and the nephrologists would come in and they'd have this worried look and they'd say, well, you seem to be having a reaction to this drug or that drug or the interaction of various drugs. And I felt like I was a part of some experiment, that nobody really knew how these drugs were likely to act together. And in some cases, they would say, well, we're going to take you off the drug. But in other cases, they would say, well, we're going to reduce the amount of the drug because it's really important at this phase of the transplant. But later they'd come back and say, oh, well, you're still having the reaction, so we're going to completely eliminate the drug. And that was very disquieting for me as a patient, because I'd heard the earlier message that this drug was very important to your kidney health, but now we're going to take you off of it. So I worried that perhaps I wasn't getting the best treatment. And it seemed to me that the healthcare team should have been able to better predict what the likelihood was that these drugs would interact together, because they've done a lot of transplants, as well as how I was likely to be impacted personally as a patient. Drug-induced kidney injury is important to me because we know very little about drug-induced kidney injury. And I would like to know that there are more biomarkers than just, say, creatinine that might be used to signal early injury so that we could possibly prevent further damage to the kidneys or prevent damage at all. I would like for the research community to know that patients are concerned about drug-induced kidney injury, and we would like to have more data sharing and collaboration between the members of industry. I am personally very excited to have the opportunity as a patient to participate in this workshop, because it gives me an opportunity to collaborate with all of the other stakeholders, whether we're talking about members of the pharmaceutical industry, academic research, regulators, and other patients. Because I think that by sharing our common experiences and our common concerns, we can identify what we need to do to take this process to the next level. I hope to see more activity following this workshop, and that we will be able to collaborate and work together to create the kinds of tools that are necessary to develop novel treatments and therapies and identify new biomarkers. And I am particularly grateful to be able to contribute, because I know that frequently in a competitive environment, big players are not comfortable coming together. And I want to emphasize how much I appreciate those players who have been willing to sit down at the table and offer their data for use in this collaborative way. And I look forward to continue to being involved with them going forward. And if I had one more ask, it would be to ensure that we provide additional education for clinicians and for patients. We know that often drug-induced injury occurs early on and it's not even identified because there are no tools to help clinicians recognize the occurrence of DIKI earlier. We also know that patients are unaware of what things they might do, like they don't recognize which drugs, NSAIDs, antibiotics, or other things that might contribute to drug-induced injury that they could avoid and possibly avoid being injured themselves. So to the extent that we can have additional education for patients and clinicians, I think it would be a winner.